What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Footy with an Edge. Man United have finally done it. They finally managed to win a game with a clean sheet. They finally managed to score 3 goals without conceding 3 or 4 themselves. And they finally made a game look boring and easy. How long has it been since we've seen a game like that? And don't get me wrong, West Ham had more shots and XG than us in that game, but if you look at their shot map, they were either shots from long distance or examples of terrible decision making in the final third. They didn't create a single big chance all game and never really looked like they were going to score. The reason I'm happy today, despite watching a relatively uneventful game, is precisely because it was an uneventful game. We didn't look like we were dominating West Ham by pinning them in their own half and suffocating them from possession or space, but we also didn't have to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at West Ham to create chances and score goals. It was a controlled and relaxed afternoon at Old Trafford, even if it was slightly uninspiring from United in the final third. But the thing that excited me the most, by far, was the unselfishness and the team spirit shown by Garnacho, Hojlund, and even Marcus Rashford in that game. We were actually looking to pass the damn ball. And look what it resulted in. We scored 3 goals from 5 shots on target instead of scoring 1 or 2 goals from a million shots that we take every game. So we have a lot to talk about in terms of Hojlund and Garnacho in this video because, like the thumbnail says, the future is bright for United with 19 and 21-year-olds combining to lead the line at Manchester United. But before we get into any of that, let's hear a quick word from today's sponsor. Do you dream of making the big bucks as a social media influencer? Or perhaps you'd like to have a good side hustle making content part-time? Well, let me tell you the harsh truth about the economics of content creation. It can take a lot of hard work and a long time to develop a sizable audience. And even then, most platforms outside of YouTube won't even give you a share of the ad revenue. So you can very easily find yourself doing a lot of hard work for a whole lot of nothing. But this doesn't mean that you should give up on your artistic or creative passions. It means that you have to be good at appealing to sponsors while creating your content. And that's where today's sponsor, Post.Market, comes into the picture. Post.Market's mission is to simplify the sponsorship process so you can focus on creating your best content and getting paid. So if you are looking to get started on your content creation journey, why not head over to Post.Market by clicking the link in the video description? Or if you're looking to advertise your brand or product on my channel, head over to the Footy with an Edge sponsorship page by clicking the link in the description. Once again, that's Post.Market to find your next sponsorship or sponsor my channel. 21 years ago to this day, Kirsten Winther and Anders Hojlund welcomed their oldest son Rasmus into the world. And I think it's fair to say that 6 months into his United career, United fans have welcomed Hojlund as one of their own. What a great feeling it must be to be able to lead the line for United on your 21st birthday and score an amazing goal to give them a lead. I'm so happy for this kid because we all know the kind of shit a striker has to deal with in this United team. To go through 15 games, 19 shots, and 1,000 minutes of Premier League football without a goal, and then to score 4 goals in the next 272 minutes across 4 games, it takes a special type of player with a special attitude, special hunger, and resilience to get this type of stuff done. I said it after the Wolves game, he's turning into a leader in this team because of his hunger, his desire, and his unselfishness. But I saw a next level of skill from him today that I didn't really think he had in him. So let's take a look at the first goal here from a few different angles. We start with Casemiro going for this loose ball in midfield, and as we play along, Casemiro gets to this first and pokes it towards Hojlund, who turns towards goal to assess his options, right? So he receives the ball, turns towards goal right here, and he can either play this towards Garnacho into this space, but looks like it is perhaps covered by Emerson on the back here. And he can play it with the perfect weight towards Rashford, but unless he weights it perfectly, Rashford may not be able to shoot first time. His third option is taking on the shot himself, but he can't do that just yet because there's 2 center backs in front of him and it's a tight, really tight angle. The only way is to maybe create his own space through a skill. So based on his options, he shapes up his body to shoot right here by lifting up his left foot, and this forces Aguerd to step out of his position to close down this shooting angle right here. And because Hojlund recognizes that, he fakes that shot with his body and turns towards the inside, which makes him go into this pocket of space that Aguerd has just vacated. And as soon as he does that, he has this angle open to him now to shoot the ball into the bottom corner and score the goal. So within a few seconds, he's able to read what's going on in front of him, make the adjustment, and shoot with his weaker foot. This was an amazing goal. I can't overstate enough how good this goal was. And it's the goal that'll make every single one of his striker coaches super proud. Whether that's Benny McCarthy at United, his coach at Atlanta, Copenhagen, or his youth team striker coaches. Because this goal is straight from the training ground. You're taking the ball on the half turn, shifting it from one foot to the other, and bang into the bottom corner. He can probably do that move in his sleep, but to execute that at Old Trafford against a top 6 team is special. Now let's take a look at that from another angle. We see Casemiro about to win this ball in front of Ward-Prowse. As he pokes it loose, Hojlund receives the ball again, and he turns on the half turn, and he shapes his body to move towards the left-hand side over here, which makes up Agüero's mind to turn towards blocking Hojlund instead of going with Garnacho. And as Hojlund shapes up to shoot with his left right here, Agüero goes in for the block, right? You can see Agüero moving from this position to cut out the shot from here. But Hojlund knows this, and he's doing a fake shot to feint his body towards this angle here. So he shifts his weight to the right foot to get into this spot, and it's pure and utter brilliance to slot this into the bottom corner. I think we were all fooled by Hojlund's career development when he went through those first 15 Premier League games without a goal. Because despite the 5 goals he got in the Champions League and the poor service that he was getting throughout, I thought we bought a young developmental striker from the Serie A that would need 12 to 18 months to start coming good. But from the glimpses of skill and physical talent that I'm seeing over the last few games, he is much more advanced than I thought. I mean, until this year, this guy only had 1,900 minutes of football in the top 5 leagues. And to score this goal today, you'd think he'd been playing in the Premier League for 5 or 6 years. So like I said in the last video, our future at the striker position is very, very bright because of this kid. You know, it's kind of rare to have a player score 2 out of your 3 goals and still have a very unselfish game. And it's especially rare for Garnacho, Antony, or Rashford to do that. So this was a big game from Garnacho to actually score 2 goals from just 2 shots while also creating 3 chances for his teammates. Instead of the usual where he has 5 or 6 shots without scoring and he doesn't create anything either. Ten Hag has clearly had a word with all of our wingers since that Newport game because they went from 11 shots amongst themselves in that game to 1 shot each against Wolves and 2 shots each today. But let's shift our focus towards today's man of the match, Garnacho, because I'm really proud of this kid. United fans clearly have very high expectations of him, and because he's still 19 years old, he tends to be very inconsistent and at times selfish. But I don't see the noise impacting him very much. And Ten Hag deserves a lot of credit for this specific thing as much as anybody else. So let's start with analyzing Garnacho's first goal here. We start with Bruno with the ball on the left-hand side here, and you can see Garnacho asking for the ball on the right. As we play along, Bruno plays a nice crossfield pass to Garnacho over here, and as he gets this under control, let's take a close look at Garnacho's passing options right here. He has Diogo Dalot shaping up to make the run to the byline where he can slip him in behind. He has Hojlund making this run into the space here because he knows Souček is probably going to run with Dalot towards the byline. And Rashford is in some space on the far post right here in behind Koufal in case either Dalot or Garnacho get to the byline and cross it over to him. Now, as soon as Souček decides to track Dalot's run, that little bit of space that's created isn't just space for Hojlund, it's space for Garnacho as well. So Garnacho cuts inside and he gets ready to shoot right here. Now let's talk about his options again. Dalot is offside, so he can't pass it to Dalot. Bruno and Rashford have about these 5 players blocking them, so he can't really get it to them either. Rasmus Hojlund here in the middle is the only viable pass because he's fairly unmarked. And one could argue that this pass to Hojlund is better than the shot that Garnacho is about to take. And you'd probably be right, but let's put a pin in that for a second. So Garnacho decides to take on the shot, which is kind of in the middle of Fabianski's goal, but it takes a deflection off Agüero's shoulder and goes into the back of the net to put us 2-0 up. So, was this a poor shot from Garnacho? It probably was. Should he have passed it to Hojlund in this situation? He probably should have. But you know why I'm not upset with Garnacho taking on this particular shot? Because it was actually his first shot of the game. in the 49th minute. He was trying his best to create chances for the team for 49 minutes whenever he got on the ball. And in this particular situation, it's not like Hojlund was wide open for a tap-in. He is in some space, but he is moving away from goal, and he probably gets closed down anyways by some of the players around him. So for Garnacho to decide to take this admittedly low percentage shot when no other clear option is available is okay with me. And the fact that he got a deflection to go in his favor is fantastic, obviously. Now let's take a look at this goal from another angle. Garnacho just received that cross-field pass from Bruno, and Dalot's making that run to the byline here. As Garnacho drives inside into a congested space to shoot in this direction right here, take a brief look at where Hojlund is, right? And as we play this further, Garnacho's shot goes in through a deflection off of a Gerd. And from this angle, I want you guys to better appreciate two things. The first is that even though Hojlund has a decent amount of space in front of him right here, it is very easy for up to 4 West Ham players to either get close to him and block the shot or block the angle where he's going to take the shot. The second thing I want you guys to pay attention to is that Garnacho is actually shooting with his left foot. And the reason I called this one out is because everyone was going on about why Garnacho can do more off the right because it's easier for him to cross with his right foot. And I think that's complete bullshit, because why do we want more one-footed players in our team? Antony and Rashford are already super limited to the point where they either cut inside and shoot, or they play on the opposite side and go missing in games. Why do we want Garnacho to be the same way? He's already shown us that when he plays on the left, he can cut inside and find a cross to the back post like he did for McTominay against Chelsea this season, and like he did for McTominay against Villa last season. And he's also shown us that he can get to the byline with his left and put in a cross across the box with his left foot. So why can't we expect Garnacho to score and assist with his left foot when he's playing on the right side? We shouldn't just think he's there to put in a cross with his right foot. I want to see him doing a lot more of this in the coming games. Now let's take a look at some of the inconsistency and youth I was talking about with this play from the 57th minute. Dalot has just laid this ball off to Casemiro here, and you can see how Garnacho's already on his bike to get in behind Emerson on the right hand side. As we play along, enjoy this wonderful pass from Casemiro, because this guy is really a gem. But you can see how Garnacho's already kind of outpaced Emerson. He's burned him for pace right here, and he has support from Bruno, Hojlund, and Rashford on the left hand side over here. Now, as Garnacho takes a nice touch to get the ball into his stride and gets to the point where he should probably play this first time pass into Hojlund over here, he actually decides to cut it back inside and tries to find Bruno at the edge of the box instead. And we can see Hojlund, I've highlighted him for you guys, he's got his arms up in the air, and rightly so, because let's evaluate the quality of Garnacho's decision making here. I think he's thinking all of these West Ham players that are sprinting back to defend will probably overshoot their run, and there will be an overwhelming amount of space at the edge of the box. So let me just slow it down here and cut it back to Bruno so he can get a shot off in a lot of space. But this, in my opinion, is the wrong decision, because he could have easily flashed it across the box for Hojlund to shoot from close range, which is a much higher quality chance. So these are the kind of things that you have to be okay with when it's a 19-year-old winger trying to learn his position. You have to look at it glass half full, because at least he didn't try to shoot it from an impossible angle on his right foot. At least he tried to slow it down and find a pass. Maybe the next time or the time after that, he will make the right pass to Hojlund, and a game like this will end with him having 2 goals and an assist instead of just 2 goals. Next, we have this play from the 62nd minute where we see more of the inconsistency and youth combined with the unselfishness that he's trying to learn. We start with Bruno trying to play Garnacho in behind on the right hand side. As Garnacho receives the ball, look at how Rashford and Hojlund are in support of Garnacho through the middle and through the left over here. And I want you guys to pay specific attention to Rashford, who is in acres of space on the left hand side here. Now, as Garnacho gets to the edge of the box, he has Dalot on the overlap, who can get to the byline and perhaps find Rashford or Hojlund through the middle, or he can use Dalot's run as a dummy and cut inside instead and maybe go with a shot off his left foot. As we play along, he does decide to cut inside and evade a tackle, which leads to West Ham just being completely at 6s and 9s here, and it creates a literal acre of space for Rashford inside the penalty box. All Garnacho has to do here is find that pass out to Rashford, and it's very easy for him to tap it into the goal. But unfortunately, he doesn't put enough power on the pass, and this pass is easily cut out by Kufal. So as you guys can see, he is trying his best, and in this situation, he even makes the right choice, but just misses out on the execution of the pass. As a coach and as a fan, I want to see more of this. I want to see Garnacho making the right runs. I want to see him getting his first touch right. I want to see him getting his head up when he's on the ball. And I want to see him trying to pass or shoot at the right time. Because in all the clips we've seen so far, he has done 8 or 9 things right. And he's just missing out on the last 1 or 2 things. So once all those things come together, my God, what a player he's going to be. Now, I'm going to show you guys the clip for Garnacho's goal, not because he did something special here, but because I want to laugh at Kalvin Phillips a little bit in the build-up. So Ben Johnson here is playing a simple pass to Phillips that he just has to roll out to Zuma in the back line here. As we play along, Phillips ends up taking an unnecessary touch right here, which is pounced upon by McTominay, so the ball gets loose from him. And then he does this lazy lunge at Hojlund to poke the ball loose, which he obviously doesn't win. So he's on his ass already as a central midfielder, which you should never be. And then to make things worse, he gets up like an absolute 80-year-old man who just fell down while he was taking a walk. What is he doing? Is this what he was learning from Rodri and Pep Guardiola at Man City? Oh my word. What a shocking debut for this guy. And I personally couldn't be happier to see it from an ex-Leeds, ex-Man City midfielder who looks like he's about to be an ex-West Ham midfielder as well. So please take a screenshot. Remember this, mental screenshot. Anyways, you guys know the rest. McTominay gets to the edge of the box with some nice dribbling, where he has an easy decision to make because there's a ton of space for anyone he wants to pick out. He lays it off to Garnacho and he puts it into the bottom corner. So with that, United have 4 wins and a draw in the last 5 games in all competitions. Our first team is now somewhat back to full fitness, although we saw Martinez picking up what looks like a bad knee injury, so that's a concern. But it looks like United have some real positive momentum now. Can we take that momentum into the next 5 games against Villa, Luton, Fulham, the FA Cup 5th round game, and then Man City at the Etihad? I'm actually okay with us winning 4 of those games and losing to City if that's how it has to play out. But the last thing I want to see is a loss against Villa, then a draw to Luton, win against Fulham, then we go out of the FA Cup, and then we lose to City at the Etihad. I can't take another round of results like that, and I don't think Ten Hag can afford to either. I hope we see more games like today where we win without necessarily playing amazing. What do you guys think? Get in the comments down below, and in honor of the Munich disaster, please leave a GGMU in the comment section below and smash that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.